And you definitely need to make sure that you extract the files before you try to use them. Because you can double click and open and take a look at them, but don't change them inside the zipped folder because quite often they don't save and there's other problems. So what you're going to want to do is click on Extract All. And then you're going to see a little window asking where you want to extract to. And we need to extract to your Lesson 10 folder. So we're going to click on Browse. And you are going to have to navigate to your Lesson 10 folder, wherever that may be. And this is where we're going to extract to. So we're going to select the Lesson 10 folder and then click on Extract. And once it's extracted, if you go into Lesson 10, you will see a folder called Acme Vertical. And then if we open up Acme Vertical, you're going to see a CSS folder and a media folder, and then a bunch of different web pages. Now the page that we're going to be checking to start with in the browser is the home HTML page. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up in a web browser. And this is what it looks like before we change anything. And now I'm going to go back into that little folder. You want to make sure that you are not in the zipped folder. Never want to open stuff from the zipped one. Always make sure you're in Lesson 10 and you're in the regular Acme Vertical folder. And what we're going to do is open up our CSS folder and we're going to edit acmevertical.css. So we're going to right click on this and we're going to open this with Visual Studio Code. So just taking a look at what we see here, you can see we've got some CSS for the body. We've got overflow turned on. We've got that lovely green swirly that you saw in the background. And we've got a font specified. And then the navigation area, we have a width set. And we've got a little margin at the top and on the right-hand side. And then for our section area, we are also defining a width and a height. And that's about as far as we got on the CSS. And what we're going to be adding is some CSS for our navigation bar. And we're also going to be kind of converting this into a more of a flex box display. So in the body, we're going to add display inline flex. And then in our nav section, we are going to add a little command to get rid of the underlining in our links. So we're going to say text decoration, none. And then in our section area, if you look at the page, so this is our navigation area, and this is our section area. And you'll see we have some links in here. So we would actually like to change the formatting of these links, okay? Because doing text decoration none in the nav section got rid of the underlining here, but we also want to change the appearance of the links in section. So if we look at our code, you can actually see here's our nav area, got rid of the underlining there, but we do have some links in here and we're going to get rid of the underlining in there as well. So let's come back to our CSS. And we're going to add right below section. We're going to say section A:link. So the links that appear inside section, we want to do a little formatting to. So we're going to say text decoration none. That'll get rid of the underlining. And we want them to display in bold. So we'll do font weight bold. And we want them to be green. So we're just changing the color to green. Now let's save our changes. And we'll go out and reload this. So doing the display inline flex gives us kind of the side by side. And you can see that we've got this styled here. Definitely more that we have to do over in the nav area. So let's get back to it. And go down here and add nav UL. So that little list that you saw is created using an unordered list. So we are going to be doing some styling to the unordered list and also to each line and to the anchor, the links within each line. So for the unordered list that is inside our navigation section, we have list style. Now you can just do list style none, or you can do list style type. Either way is going to work. I love it when it adds text here. There. So we got list style type none. Margin. So the top is going to be 12. Right is 0. Left is 0. Bottom is 0. So it goes, it's kind of clockwise. So this is the top, the right, the bottom, and the left. We'll put our semicolon in. Padding all the way around is going to be 0. Now this should get rid of the bullets. And then let's do, so in the unordered list for each line that's in the nav section, I'm going to put a bottom border. And it's just going to be a very thin black line. And let's save this. So we've got the border showing up. And you can see it did take the bullets out. We have a little margin, very slight margin at the top. And we don't have any padding. So let's go back in here. We're going to style up some of the links. And that's going to be nav UL, li, a:\link. So how this works. Inside nav, inside UL, you're going to see a line. And inside the line, that is where you're going to have the anchor for the links. So that is what nav, UL, li, and a is referring to. It's referring to each of these links that are inside the lines, which are inside the ordered list, which is inside nav. Okay, so this nesting all makes very good sense if you look at your code. Okay, so we are going to format the link and visited the exact same way. So we're going to put a comma in here, and then we've got to do the nav, UL, li, a:\visited. And for both of those states, the font weight is going to be bold. We're going to do display block. Okay, because this is a vertical display. And for padding, we're going to put some padding on the top, not on the right, but we are going to put it on the bottom and on the left. And we're going to make the background color green, and the color of the font itself is going to be white. So they're going to look like little buttons. with the green background and the white text. So let's save. And we can take a look at that. We're not done with the links quite yet though. But you can at least see the initial state, what they look like. Let's go back over here. And we're going to add the hover and the visited. So I think I'm going to copy this because I don't like to type, as you know. And then we'll just change that first A colon link to hover. We'll change visited to active. And font weight bold is right. Display block we want to keep. Padding we want to keep. And what changes here is the background color. That is going to be light green. And the font color itself is going to be dark green. With no space. And we're going to save. Now there is one little code that we forgot. We are going to put that in. It's nav A. And we do need to add this text decoration none. We're going to save that, and that will remove the underlining from the link. So right now they're still underlined, and if we right click and reload, now that is gone. So at this point, this looks pretty good, and we can actually click on some of these different buttons so you can see what it looks like. And if you click on executive teams, what you're going to notice is that we have a submenu. And that submenu currently is not styled. We want it to look a little different from the main menu. So our next task is going to be to style this little submenu. So at the very bottom, the submenu, and actually we should look at the code here. And we need the code for, I'm going to pull up executive. So with a submenu, you're still looking in the nav section, and you're looking at the first unordered list, but the submenu is a second unordered list. So in order to style this, you have to say nav ul ul. Okay, because we're not in the first list, we are in the second list. So we're going to specify some styling for that. So we just do ul twice. Nav ul ul. And we're going to set the margin to 0, and this is for all sides. And we're going to indent the text a little bit. And if I save this, I'm just going to press Control and S, the little shortcut for saving. If I reload, you'll notice that these are now indented. Now, in addition to styling the nested unordered list, we need to style all of these links because we want them to display a little bit smaller than they currently are. And we're also going to do a little color change. Now, by default, these links that are nested, which is this little group here, take on the same settings as the original links. So if you want something to look different, you actually have to specify that in the CSS. So we're going to come over here into our code again. And to save myself some time, I'm going to copy this little section here that's formatting the links on our main menu. I'm going to copy and paste. And what I'm going to do is add a second UL. And once I add the second UL, I am now looking at the submenu. So anything that deals with the first unordered list, that's your main menu. Anything that's dealing with the second unordered list, you are looking at your submenu. And make sure if you copy paste that you put the 2 U's in both spots. Okay, because we're actually styling 4 different states of the links. So for the first one, the link and visited, font size should be smaller, so we want that to be 10 point. We still want bold, we still want display block, we still want the same padding, background color and color are all staying the same. And we're going to add font size to the next one as well. And we'll just double check. It looks like everything else is, we changed this background color to white and the color here to green. So just a couple little modifications, and we're going to save our changes. And we will come out here and reload. So you can see they're quite a bit smaller, and we have changed the color, so you can definitely tell this is a little different menu. And it's only going to display when you are looking at the submenu items or when you click on executive teams. If you click on anything else, it does not display. So the way we did this in this particular page is the pages like mission are coded without the nested list. And then the pages like executive have the nested list in them. So that is one way of creating this. There is another technique you can use where you're actually pointing and displaying or hiding submenus, and you will learn that a little bit later on in this lesson. But at this point, everything should look pretty good, and you can save your changes and you can close out of the file.